The tale of MKUltra begins in the shadows of the Cold War, a time when paranoia was rampant and the quest for control was paramount. Established by the CIA in the early 1950s, MKUltra was a covert project aimed at developing methods of mind control that could be used against enemies. Imagine a world where the line between freedom and control is blurred, where the government conducts experiments without the consent of its citizens. The project was born out of the fear that the Soviet Union was ahead of the United States in developing mind control techniques. This fear led to a series of experiments that would go down in history as some of the most unethical and controversial actions by the American government. But how did these experiments actually take shape? What lengths did the CIA go to in order to accomplish their goals? To understand MKUltra, we must explore the shocking methods used to manipulate the human mind. The CIA explored a variety of techniques, including the use of drugs such as LSD, hypnosis, and even sensory deprivation. Picture a subject being administered a powerful hallucinogen, only to be subjected to extreme psychological stress while in a controlled environment. This technique was believed to break down an individual's mental defenses, allowing the CIA to implant false memories or control their actions. One of the most infamous stories involves Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, who oversaw many of these operations. He believed that with the right combination of drugs and psychological pressure, they could create a Manchurian candidate, an individual capable of carrying out orders without conscious awareness. Can you imagine the ethical implications of such experimentation? The stories from victims of these tests paint a horrifying picture. Many of the subjects involved in MKUltra experiments were unwitting participants, often vulnerable individuals who had little knowledge of the risks they were facing. This raises a crucial question: who were these people? Some were mental health patients, while others were prisoners or individuals from marginalized communities. The CIA's lack of consent and transparency was shocking. Reports suggest that even college students were used in these experiments, lured in by the promise of cash compensation for participation in research. Imagine being a college student, thinking you're part of a legitimate study, only to find out you're unknowingly being used as a pawn in a sinister game of psychological manipulation. The betrayal and horror experienced by these individuals highlight the ethical abyss the CIA was willing to dive into for the sake of national security. What happens when the government decides to play God with people's lives? As the truth about MKUltra began to surface in the 1970s, the public outcry was immense. Investigative journalists and congressional hearings revealed the extent of the CIA's deception and unethical practices. Victims sought justice, and the agency faced intense scrutiny. However, the damage was done. Many individuals were left traumatized, struggling with the psychological consequences of their experiences. The fallout from MKUltra didn't just affect those directly involved, it sparked widespread distrust in government institutions. How can you trust a system that has conducted secret experiments on its own citizens? This legacy of distrust continues to reverberate today, influencing how people perceive government actions and policies. Have we learned from these dark chapters in history, or are we still at risk of repeating the same mistakes? Today, the legacy of MKUltra serves as a cautionary tale about the ethical responsibilities of governments and the protection of individual rights. While the official records of the project were destroyed, the echoes of MKUltra's experiments linger on in our society. The discussions around human experimentation and informed consent are more crucial than ever. In popular culture, the concept of mind control continues to be a source of fascination and fear, appearing in movies and books as a metaphor for the loss of autonomy. As we reflect on this dark period, we must ask ourselves, what safeguards are in place to prevent such abuses from happening again? The vigilance of citizens is essential in holding governments accountable. Understanding the past helps us shape a better future. Are we truly prepared to face the potential consequences of unchecked governmental power?